Okay, boys and girls, so today we are going to be painting Starry Night. And a lot of kids say, Miss Teacher, do I have to do a cypress tree? Do I have to do a moon? Do I have to do hills? No, you can do however you want to do it. And but the first thing that you need to do is kind of map out how you're going to do it. I'm going to do mine a little bit similar to the original, but if you want to put in 2 cypress trees or do whatever, it's up to you. A lot of kids kind of like to put their hand here as sort of a guide and go around it. I'm actually just going to kind of go like this and to get my cypress tree on there. And like I said, you don't have to have a cypress tree. And then the next thing I need to do is to get my horizon line in there. The horizon is always where the land meets the sky. It's that little point right in between there. And so in order to do that, I'm going to start over here and I'm going to come across, and it doesn't have to be a straight line. I'm going to jump over my cypress tree because my cypress tree is in the foreground. It's in the front. And now I'm going to just come here and go like that. If I would like to have a hill, it's real easy. You just put your oil pastel anywhere on here and just kind of move up diagonally and you have a hill. You could have another hill coming from this way. Jump over your cypress tree and finish it back over here. Now, what happens if you're like, whoa, no, I ruined it, oh, it's terrible. No, don't worry about it. You're going to be putting paint over all this paper today, so if your cypress tree is like all wacky or whatever and you can't stand it, no big deal. When you paint, you're going to be covering it up. Now, you don't have to do a house down here. In fact, we're going to be adding some houses next week. You could just leave this plain for now. And I'm going to just go ahead and do a moon in the same way that Vincent van Gogh did. And what I'm going to do now is place my stars. I'm just going to plan out where my stars are going to be. And if you like, you can also plan the movement of the sky. Now in Vincent van Gogh's, his movement kind of comes like this a little bit. I think I might do something a little different. Maybe I'll have mine coming from this direction and just to do something just a little bit different. Now, when it comes to painting, all we've done with the oil pastel is plan it out. With the paints, when you start the day, our paints look like this. We just had a class leave and they did so well. Their paints look like this. It kind of looks like they all have a little bit of white mold or something growing on it. But this is a sign that they followed directions perfectly. Let me show you what I mean. When you use the paint today, you are going to be dipping into the paint. Now, when I say dip, I mean from this angle, it looks kind of weird, but you're just going to go down and up. That is dipping. Let me show you what you're not going to do. You are not going to scoop. You are not going to stir. No, no, no. All you're going to do is dip. And the reason I want you just to dip is because you are going to be using 2 colors when you dip. So here I could go dip into the yellow, dip into the blue, and do you see I have hardly left a mark. Now if I scoop or if I stir, I'm going to start changing this blue to green and it's going to be a big old mess. But just by dipping, it turns out like it stays pretty nice. So what I'm going to do now is come over here and I'm going to start with my sky and I'm going to just come and do the movement of my sky. Now some of you, if you look above the sink, you'll see that kids have been working, and some kids have really liked to have the same color in their sky, whereas other kids have liked to mix things up a little bit. I'm going to come over and dip into the white and into the blue, and I'll show you again here. I'm just dipping, dip, dip. Nothing more than that. I can come back here, and some kids have noticed that it's almost like I'm going next to what I did the first time. And that's a good way to start to fill in your entire background. Now I'm noticing my moon is over here, so I think I'm going to dip into the yellow. And I think I'm actually going to move where my moon is. I'll just move it right over here. And I think I'd like to have a little bit of an orange color, so I'm going to dip into the yellow and into the red. And now I'm going to come over here and do some movement around that. So as you work, you're just going to keep adding more and more layers onto here. I'm going to dip into the purple. Come back over here. Now, for the purposes of this video, I don't want to go on forever and ever. I don't want to bore you to death. But I'm continuing to dip into different colors. This time I dipped into the red to make it ends up being a little bit of a pinky color. And so you can see the movement of my sky here. And then what's going to happen next is you need to start thinking about your tree, and you need to start thinking about your hills. Because we want it to be clear that your hills are different from your sky. And part of that, how we're going to be doing that, is by changing the movement. So right now, the movement of everything in my painting is going in this kind of whirlpool design of going around. But now what I'm going to do is change the pattern, and I think I'll even change the color too, where for my hills over here, I'm going to go with blue and some white. And now when I do that, I'm going to do my dotted lines going along my hill. Some of you noticed in the video that it was almost like there was water flooding the city, that it was coming into the city. That's the same thing. We want it to look like the movement is going along here. Now I'm going to go all the way down to the bottom. And then you can have a little bit of fun with your cypress tree and figure out what you're going to do with that. So maybe I would decide that I would like my cypress tree to be kind of purple. So I could come into here, and then for this, just notice that I'm doing much more kind of in a painterly way. I'm not doing dotted lines anymore. Now I'm actually painting in my cypress tree. And because I have other colors mixed in on my brush, in this case I have still have some white on my brush, it kind of brightens it up. So today, again, when you sit down, I want you to remember that the first thing you're doing is you are putting in your plan. And again, you do not have to have certain things. If you don't want a moon, that's fine. If you want to have tons of stars, that's fine. If you want to add houses, you can do that. And then, so you're going to plan with the oil pastel, and then you're going to start to paint in your movement. We're going to have music playing today, and there's going to be a point where I'm going to ask for it to be completely quiet. I've been finding that when we listen to the music and we just sort of get into the mood of the music, just like the video that you just saw, it kind of helps you make a even prettier starry night. So, go have fun.